is, and personally what we've always enjoyed the most about it is the opportunity to hear from each other about the things that we're all doing at our various institutions, and hopefully coming home with a few good ideas, a few little nuggets of things that others are doing that we might be able to apply in our own creative ways at our own hospitals. So we're hoping that you're coming away from our talk with a few nuggets to take back to your own hospitals. So again, we're here today to talk about the many ways that we as healthcare marketers have been charged with supporting our campaign to expand our children's hospital. UW Health has a very long history of children's hospital services that dates back to the 20s, but it wasn't until 2007 that we opened our first standalone children's hospital, and it's called American Family Children's Hospital after a generous naming gift from American Family Insurance. And we are guessing that perhaps we are not the only ones in this room who have been asked to add fundraiser to the ever-expanding list of healthcare marketing duties that we have to do every day. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I feel like I have not just one job, but 50. One day you're being asked to be a social media architect, and the next day you're jumping into email marketing or event planning or media relations, and fundraising is just one more thing to add to that list. We also suspect that if you haven't been asked yet to be a fundraiser for your hospital, you probably will be soon, considering some of the things that have been talked about at this conference so far today, like changing reimbursement models and some of those traditional sources of funding that are drying up that we used to rely on to grow and expand. So anyway, it's a big old juggling act, and it makes every day lots of fun. Since it is Throwback Thursday, I thought I would dig up a photo of Jane and myself back from our circus juggling days, just to illustrate that point. God bless Shutterstock, by the way, because you can find any image to supplement any stupid joke you would like to tell. But anyway, so with that, I will toss the pen over to my colleague Jane and the microphone to tell us a little bit about how we got here.
Great. Thank you, Corissa. It's always so weird to hear my voice on a microphone. I'll try not to break into song. So a little bit about who we are. The American Family Children's Hospital is a 61-bed pediatric standalone freestanding children's hospital in Madison. It's connected to the 566-bed UW Hospital and Clinics Academic Medical Center. American Family Children's Hospital is a level 1 trauma and burn center for peds, as well actually for adults. We are nearly a century old.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. As Alyssa, here we go. As Corissa alluded, not Alyssa concluded, nearly a decade of serving patients and families all over Wisconsin. It started in 1920, called the Bradley Hospital, and then moved into the existing UW Hospital and Clinics in the 70s. And it was a hospital within a hospital, and then eventually, like Corissa said, in 2007, we opened the doors to our beautiful new, very, very fun Disneyland-like hospital in 2007. Currently, we do 3,500 admissions. We see patients a lot from Wisconsin and Illinois, all parts of the country, and even some international patients. Although we're relatively a new brand, and I'm going to forgive those who were in the Giant Slayer presentation immediately preceding this in this room, we've gotten some awards, and we're proud to tell them, even though we're not supposed to. We've been named U.S. News & World Report Top 50 Children's Hospital for the past 3 years. We've, since 2007, had 700,000 patient visits to our peds specialty clinics, and we do all this without any state taxpayer dollars, without any subsidies for operations from the state. That's kind of a misnomer. Let's see, I'm going to turn it back to Chris.
So with our growing national reputation that Jane referenced, her name is Jane, and my name is Corissa.
Sorry.
So
Comedy hour.
Combined with our, everybody wants to go to cocktail hour. We'll clip through this.
We started early.
With our growing national reputation and a couple of key hires in some strategic areas like pediatric cardiothoracic surgery, which is a really difficult specialty to find, our advocacy is just exploding. And as you can see here is a bit of a visual that shows you that we're going to be busting at the seams pretty soon. We've never had to turn a child away at this point, but our projections do show that by fiscal year 2015, our current 61-bed capacity will not be enough to accommodate all the kids who need us. So in keeping with our UW Health mission to advance healthcare in Wisconsin and beyond, we've seen kids from 49 of the 50 states so far at American Family Children's Hospital. Our only holdout is Vermont, which leads me to an obscure research finding that apparently ice cream is good for children because in the land of Ben and Jerry's, no kids in Vermont have ever needed us. And apologies for the reference to Alec Baldwin's NPR skit. That was actually, by the way, Ben and Jerry's actually did that flavor. It bombed horribly. I can't imagine with a name like that, but anyway. So I'll give it back to Jane for talking about legitimate things.
Thank you. So back to the Sick Kids Can't Wait. We opened in 2007, and then we quickly realized that the demand was exceeding the services that were going to be able to happen earlier than we thought. A little bit back, the Children's Hospital had a No Finer Gift campaign to build the original hospital. It was a quiet phase only for high-end donors, and it got the doors open. But then once the doors got open and the kids started coming even more, we realized we needed an expansion campaign. That's what the Sick Kids Can't Wait is about. We needed to add some additional pediatric intensive care units. We needed to add a high acuity 14-bed surgical NICU. We needed to expand some of our OR equipment. We needed to include new areas for imaging for children and new areas for catheterization for heart patients, for little heart patients. So we, as we decided all this, we're like, okay, we need to build sooner than later. And in 2007, when we started talking about the next phase of the expansion campaign, the economy tanked. You all remember that. There it goes. Boom. Yes, there sound effects. Thank you very much.
Yes.
But despite this, we still needed to figure out a way to. The Sick Kids Can't Wait, even though the economy is not working. We had a couple other challenges ahead of us because we just opened the Children's Hospital. It still had that shiny new car smell, if you will. We have a relatively small donor pool that we're looking for donors from. We are also, so you've got donor fatigue, you've got a lousy economy, you've got an increase in services, and all of a sudden that's going to be a pretty big challenge. So we started planning in 2010 and 2011, and in February of 2012, we launched the public phase of the expansion campaign called Sick Kids Can't Wait. The name obviously stems from the fact that sick kids truly can't wait for us to be, rolling out multi-year campaigns to get it. We need them now. We need them now. Next slide. So, it's good to have famous friends. We have the very, very great pleasure and humbleness to be able to work with the likes of Cindy Crawford, the Badger coaches, and the Green Bay Packers head coach Mike McCarthy. Sorry for the Bear fans in the room. So, and Cindy Crawford really is more than a pretty face. I know that's a real trite cliche, but she really is a tireless and generous supporter of the Children's Hospital. It stems from the fact that she's actually from Illinois, and when in 1974 her little brother Jeffrey was a patient, had leukemia when he was only 3 years old at the Children's Hospital. Unfortunately, he did not survive that leukemia, but the care and the services that they had received here left a lasting impression on Cindy and her family. And so when she was realized her celebrity could lend support to pediatric cancer research, she jumped on ship and went ready to go. She makes regular visits to our Children's Hospital. And in fact, every 5 years she comes back and there's a reunion. It's called Kids with Courage. We just had that Kids with Courage last month. There were 180 survivors there. The oldest was 53. So we've been doing this for a long time. And she greets every kid, walks in, and this last year she actually brought her daughter, who is as beautiful as she is.
Clearly has supermodel genes.
Clearly. She was excited to learn, when she heard that we were going to do a public message, she was excited to use her famous face to our advantage, if you will. So we flew out to California. Not many of us get to have the opportunity to do a Hollywood production level TV spot, so I had the great fortune to do that, including all the bells and whistles and a soundstage in Santa Monica. It was quite eye-opening, and but fun. Cindy herself, her hair, makeup, stylist all donated their time, so it was pro bono for them. But it's union talent in California, and that we did have to pay for. A little bit higher than our typical 30-second price. So I'm going to try and roll the Cindy TV spot. Actually, Chris is like this.
Right now, I'm performing a pediatric liver transplant, and curing leukemia, and researching genetic disorders. That's because right now, my donations to the American Family Children's Hospital at UW are hard at work. And your donations can do the same. Help us build the additional operating rooms and critical care units we need. Visit uwhealthkids.org and give what you can, because sick kids can't wait.
So at the end of the filming, they were doing photos with everybody, and they asked if I wanted to have my photo taken next to Cindy Crawford. No way. Not happening. So in addition, because of the faculty of our med school, or because our physicians are faculty of the medical school, we have many close ties with the university and certainly the athletic department. In fact, Badger players, Bucky, the Spirit Squad make regular visits to the Children's Hospital, visiting kids, lifting spirits. It's a really heartwarming thing to do. In fact, I just learned that the community service slot to visit the kids in the hospital is the #1 requested item and very, very much sought after. So it's very heartwarming and, prickles and tears seeing those big giant linemen at bedside with the kids. So we also used the marching band to do the music, and the coaches all donated their time. We got them in their natural habitat, so we're coaches.
Right now, I'm curing cancer. Right now, I'm removing a brain tumor. I'm repairing a congenital heart defect. Right now, our donations to the American Family Children's Hospital are helping save a child's life.
And your donation can do the same.
Help us build the additional critical care units and operating rooms we need. Visit uwhealthkids.org and give what you can.
Because sick kids can't wait.
Bo always knows how to do a line. One little aside, you'll note that in some of the fun and games with working with celebrities and famous people is that they changed their minds. You'll note that there wasn't a football coach in that spot. We had one. We filmed him the 1st of August, super hot on the Camp Randall Field, but then he decided he wanted to go coach in the SEC, so we had to recut the spot to remove that coach. I know it's hard to determine ROI with especially awareness campaigns, but there's one little, we, in addition to the TV spots, we had a pretty extensive print campaign and a lot of digital too.
And you can see Brett Bielema's arm
there you right there.
right there. Yeah.
He was in the spot at one time. So as I was saying, ROI is hard to determine with an awareness campaign, but this one little anecdote we have to share. This sweet little lady, her name is Ruth Better. She called up and said, "I saw that lady in the red dress on the TV. She's so pretty. I want to give money to the kids too." So she graciously donated a 6-figure gift and asked to have her estate plans changed to include the Children's Hospital in her will. So not too bad. Once the ball gets rolling, Coach McCarthy certainly stepped up as well. He's been a supporter for a while. He hosted an annual golf outing for the Children's Hospital. Whenever he's in town, he too visits the kids in the hospital. They are co-chairs with Cindy, he and his lovely wife Jessica, and he was. Let's see. I think we have another video showing. So his passion shows through whenever he is in. I don't have a coach's spots, but I do have a video of him and Jessica when they're at the hospital.
Okay, good.
we're very blessed to be part of this mission, and we're excited about the Sick Kids Can't Wait campaign. It's a big day for us as a family. We're here to see the children and their families, and we just can't say enough about the facility, the growth and development of this facility, and we're really excited to be a part of the future.
We're all so lucky in so many ways, and it's just so neat to see the patients here just smile and they're happy, and they're sounding like they're battling an illness, and it really makes me reflect as a parent and thank God and thank the great health care that we have and the support in our community.
Really, the blessing is really all ours, to be a part of their world for 5 minutes, and if we can make them smile, it's priceless.
Why does the football coach go to the bank? Because he wants to go get his quarterback.
Part of the McCarthy Family Foundation, and we'd like this to be our legacy charity. This is where our heart is. This is definitely the group of people that we want to touch. We were obviously a big family, and children are such a gift, the greatest gift that you can ever have. So what else could you possibly do with your kids?
He's about as comfortable in front of that camera as he is at his daily or his weekly press conferences. But when he talks about the kids at events, he'll well up. It's kind of stunning, but we're very thankful and grateful for his support as well. For those media nerds out there, just want to let you know the campaign. This is really loud. The campaign ran. In Madison DMA only, because we're a relatively new campaign, a relatively new brand, we didn't feel it was appropriate to run fundraising spots out in regions that didn't have the awareness that we have here in Madison. So, I think, then we're going on to, media. In addition to the paid media campaign, we also had a big earned media component. We had a press conference. I think that was the footage from Coach and Jessica. That was like the day before the big gala that was the kickoff to the whole campaign. And this video, Kleenex is out, people, is about a story that shows some of the media coverage that we received. It's about a patient named Tegan Marty, who was a girl from, I think, Florida, who came up on vacation to the Dells, fell on a ride. Really, if it wasn't for the excellent care she received immediately from paramedics, MedFlight, and the Doc's Children's Hospital, we're not sure. It would have been a much worse tragedy. So the video I'm about to show is, it ran at the gala, immediately preceding and right after that, Tegan and her mom walked on stage. Not a dry eye. I'm glad.
Thrill ride in the Wisconsin Dells turns a family vacation into a nightmare.
Tegan Marty is in critical condition following Friday's incident after something went wrong on terminal velocity.
We are learning more today about the condition of Tegan Marty, the young girl who fell 100 feet on a thrill ride last week in the Wisconsin Dells.
We have continuing coverage of that tragic accident as Tegan Marty's mother speaks out for the first time. News 3's Mark Levitt joins us now with more. Mark.
Susan, it was an emotional day as Tegan's mother, who understandably had a very difficult time, recounted her daughter's 100-foot fall.
It was the worst day of my life. I can't believe she's alive. I'm so glad she's alive.
That horrible accident was exactly 3 weeks ago. 12-year-old Tegan Marty remains intubated in stable but critical condition. She communicates by blinking her eyes.
Any little sign I take as a miracle. Squeezing my hand and then regaining some squeezing in her right hand.
Since she was admitted to the American Family Children's Hospital, Tegan has had multiple surgeries, including pelvic and back surgery. It's been a very tough time for the Marty family, but they say they've stayed strong thanks to countless individuals who have gotten in touch and offered support and prayers.
It really restores your faith in humankind. And I will never know how to thank these people that I don't even know.
Things are going very well. Tegan's made a lot of progress. She's walking. We're having some issues. They cut her therapy, so I'm trying to fight to get her back into therapy. But I'm so proud of her. She works so hard, and she's just doing awesome. The people in Madison, phenomenal. they saved her life. We were so fortunate that American Family Children's Hospital exists. No one ever wants to have to use it. But if you need it, I'm just so glad you were there. They saved her life. Thank you all.
The lights dimmed, and Tegan and her mom walked across the stage. So, and then they asked the paddles for money to be raised. So, there are sometimes some tricks. So let.
Okay. Jeez. Yeah, if you could turn that down. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, that's better, I think. So to coincide with the February 2012 launch of the Sick Kids Can't Wait campaign, that gala at which that video was just shown, the eHealth web team for UW Health also launched a brand new standalone website for the Children's Hospital at uwhealthkids.org. Now, prior to that, the Children's Hospital information was housed within the broader mothership brand of uwhealth.org. Which, admittedly is primarily more about adult services. And quite honestly, even though we think uwhealth.org is a very nice website, it was perhaps a little bit more corporate of a look and feel than we wanted to convey with this unique space for kids and families at American Family Children's Hospital, particularly when we were embarking on going out into the community and asking for people's help to help us expand. So that was the before, and here's the after. And apparently that little patient was impressed with that transformation. But anyway, our primary goals for the website were, first of all, to foster a greater brand presence for the Children's Hospital. And again, we just opened in 2007, so, pardon the pun, but we are very much a baby brand still at this point, after just 6 years in existence. And secondly, another primary goal was to try and create a better online experience for the parents of kids who need our services. And with apologies to, I don't see him, Ryan Weckerly, if anyone was in that session this morning, he said don't buy health information encyclopedias, and we did that for uwhealthkids.org because we had the opportunity to purchase a very extensive health library from the Nemours Foundation called Kids Health. And it's written from three primary audiences: for parents, for kids, and for teens. And it's just hundreds and hundreds of articles of useful information, everything from, for parents, how to deal with your newborn's fever. For kids, why do my feet stink? That's actually one of the articles. For teens, everything from like yoga, study break stretches to sexual health issues. And then, of course, we also wanted to, with the new website, better reflect the more whimsical architectural elements of the new Children's Hospital. These days, anytime you see a children's hospital that's being either built or renovated, it has much more of the look and feel of a children's museum than a sterile hospital space, and that's certainly what we did with American Family Children's Hospital. And many features of the site reflect those architectural elements and the strong Wisconsin themes that we have within the Children's Hospital. So you can see that within the site we incorporated the Capitol skyline. When you get off the elevators on the second floor specialty clinics, this giant cow greets you on the farms floor of the Children's Hospital. So we have a little animated cow and chicken on the site that we do fun things with, like during the football season, they're wearing cheese heads, and during the holidays they're wearing Santa hats. And I know it's kind of hard to see, but can anybody see Anything special about that cow other than the cheese head? There you go. His big old spot right on the belly is the state of Wisconsin. So then, the other thing that we wanted to do, in addition to reflecting those architectural elements, was also to help us make a better case for the expansion of the Children's Hospital. And when you click on the little crane at the top of the Children's Hospital, it takes you to all of the information about our expansion, and that's kind of a close-up of that. When you walk into the lobby of the Children's Hospital, you're greeted by an old school movie marquee that actually is a functioning theater space and performance space to help kids and families blow off some steam while they're at the Children's Hospital. And so you can see there's a marquee at the top of our Sick Kids Can't Wait landing page that talks all about the expansion. And of course, you can't really have a major fundraising campaign without the requisite slew of events and galas and golf outings and fundraisers that you need to both offer your supporters and insiders look at your expansion plans, and then also provide the opportunity for everyone to get gussied up and present giant checks. And successful fundraising is, of course, all about building relationships, and for us, some of those most critical relationships have blossomed within our Children's Hospital Advisory Board. For instance, one of our advisory board members is a senior partner at Merrill Lynch, and that relationship certainly helped us to secure the spot as the charity beneficiary for this year's Merrill Lynch Grand Gala, and as you can see, that brought in almost $700,000 for the campaign, so that was a great relationship to take advantage of. Another good community relationship that we were able to leverage was our relationship with the Clear Channel Radio Group in Madison, which offered us the opportunity to be the beneficiary for the incredible house raffle. And for $60, you could buy a chance for a dream to win a new $215,000 home. And that in itself was kind of a cool story. We have our winner, Christy Mueller, pictured here. Children's Hospital administration surprised her at her job at the Red Robin to let her know that she had just won a brand new house. So we're highlighting just a few of the exhaustingly long list of events that we've done over the past year or so, really just to highlight the fact that what we're trying to do is just maintain that constant drumbeat of events to get our name out there, to get the brand out there, to build the solid bedrock that you need for fundraising. And certainly with every event, you're getting your name out there. Christy Mueller may not have known anything about the Children's Hospital before, but she's certainly a nice new brand ambassador for us, sitting in her new $215,000 home. So, another great community relationship that we were able to leverage was with the UW Credit Union for our Double Your Impact campaign. Gratuitous shot of cute twins. So the Double Your Impact campaign was a 3-month period over the holidays last year, in which if you made a donation to the Children's Hospital, you could effectively have it doubled through a matching gift from a group of generous donors. How that campaign really came about was, again, through another personal relationship. The co-chair of our Children's Hospital Advisory Board is good friends with the chief operating officer of UW Credit Union. And the credit union had just wrapped up a fantastic campaign that they had done to help raise money for the expansion of the student union at UW-Madison. And when they were kind of looking for their next project, certainly that relationship between our co-chair and their COO helped lead to Double Your Impact. The credit union provided just a whole slew of incredible promotional support for the campaign. Everything from a billboard placement on campus, a belly wrap in Madison Magazine, other ad placements, and extensive signage both in their physical credit union branches and their online web branch as well. So that presented the opportunity to spread the word about our expansion plans to the credit union's members and also to the community at large, but it also gave us a unique opportunity to talk about our expansion plans with our own supporters. And so we launched a 3-part email series to the subscribers of our American Family Children's Hospital e-newsletter, which is called Kids Connection. Now you'll see some open rates at the bottom, which I'll kind of explain a little bit first. We have about 15 public-facing e-newsletters for UW Health, and Kids Connection is the one that we've struggled with the most in terms of engagement. We have a couple of theories behind that. Number one, it's really difficult to be all things to all parents at all times. You know, the parent of a 17-year-old is concerned about very different issues than the parent of a newborn is. And so it's hard to maintain just one newsletter for all parents and have it resonate with everyone who subscribes. So anyway, the benchmarking data that we use indicates that the healthcare industry average open rate for e-newsletters is about 18%. Kids Connection is at 21% generally, which isn't bad, but it's something that we're always trying to tweak. So you can see our first message about Double Your Impact had an even lower open rate than we usually have for Kids Connection. It introduced the opportunity to, have your donation effectively doubled. And again, because it was around the holidays, it suggested it might be a good opportunity for a teacher gift or somebody who's hard to buy for. And how can you say no to cute little Giselle? She's one of our sickle cell anemia patients. Part 2 in the series told the story of little baby Carson, and he was just a day old when he had his first heart surgery at the Children's Hospital. And the message explained a little bit about what we're trying to do in building a hybrid pediatric cardiac catheterization suite and operating room, so that when little ones, really little ones like Carson, do need our help, that they're coming into facilities that were built specifically for them. And as you can see, the open rate dipped just a titch lower. Part 3 was a final reminder, hey, do you need a last minute holiday gift? And it also reinforced what Jane alluded to before, that we are not state supported or taxpayer funded, even though our mothership is UW Health or UW Hospital and Clinics. That's a common misconception. And again, open rate hovered at around 15%. So at the same time that we had the opportunity to talk to our external supporters about Double Your Impact, we also wanted to take the opportunity to talk to our internal folks, our own employees. And just as we don't often ask for money from our e-newsletter subscribers, we also certainly don't often ask for money from our own employees. And so this was a relatively new thing for us to do. But we had some great stories to tell, including the story of the woman who was pictured there. Kim Schutz is one of our cancer nurses at UW Hospital, and her son, Austin, was 3 years old when he was diagnosed with leukemia and treated at the Children's Hospital. So all total, our internal and external emails about Double Your Impact netted about $54,000, which when you consider that a little over $1 million was raised during those 3 months of Double Your Impact, that may not seem like a lot, but we were actually pretty thrilled with it. Number one, again, we don't often ask for money via email like this. And in many ways, a lot of the people that we were messaging were already likely supporters of the Children's Hospital in some way. For instance, we have an annual radiothon that I'll talk about in a bit, in which you can become a champion for kids by making a donation of $15 per month. And so because that list is maintained in a different system as our e-newsletters, a lot of the people that we were messaging were probably already champions for kids and maybe weren't inclined to make an extra donation. So in many ways, again, we might have been sort of preaching to the choir, but when you can shake out an extra $54,000 from choir road pockets, that's actually kind of fantastic. And finally, $54,000 is greater than zero. So we were happy with that. That said, we did learn a few lessons, and the next time we're presented with an opportunity like that, you could see from our open rates that we're a little bit lower than our average. People weren't totally excited to open an email that was obviously about giving money. So maybe next time we start that communication with a non-financial call to action, something like send an e-card to a child who has to spend the holidays in the hospital or something like that. And then that interaction would resolve to a thank you message that mentions that the Child Life program that helps ease the experience for kids and families while they're in the hospital is entirely funded through philanthropy. That sort of softer ask than the direct hit that we did for Elder Impact. So in addition to all of the advertising and all of the events and the new website and the email efforts and the social efforts, another thing that we try to do is cultivate that downstream effect for fundraising and position ourselves as a valued resource for our followers and supporters, so that when we do ask for money, hopefully they will remember that value that we would have provided to them. And one of the ways that we do that is through our Growing Up Healthy Parenting blog. We just wrapped up the second annual summer series for our parenting blog, which was a 15-week series with a posting each week on a variety of topics, everything from helping your kids if they're afraid of thunderstorms to how to stock your pantry over the summer if your kids are home. And we incentivized a little bit participation in the blog by posing a question at the end of every posting. And if you commented, you would be entered in a random drawing for, say a $10 farmer's market gift card, that sort of thing. So it's just a tiny little bit of an incentive, but it fostered a lot of engagement. This year in our summer series, we got about 450 comments, and they were actually kind of cool. It sort of turned into a community of parents kind of trying to help each other and give each other tips. We asked, how do you keep your kids active? And, one mom talked about how she and her husband set up, like, circuit training in their yard for their kids. And, wow, that's interesting. And our page views were, quite a bit higher than even in our first year when we tried this. Another way that we try to cultivate that downstream effect is through our annual Radiothon. And the Radiothon is our largest annual fundraiser, and it's 3 13-hour days in which DJs from local radio stations broadcast live from the Children's Hospital lobby, interviewing patients and families and staff members about their incredible stories. And really what the Radiothon is effectively a 39-hour infomercial for the Children's Hospital. And so a few years back, we decided to leverage our social media channels to supplement what had previously been primarily a radio event. People may listen on their commute to and from work, but we wanted to sort of keep that drumbeat rolling during the workday so that they can check things out on their phone, look at Facebook and see what's going on. So what we do is every day of the Radiothon we have an e-health editor, including myself, stationed there to chronicle what's going on. Everything from the interviews with patients and families to the crazy antics that can happen on hour 12 of a very long day with a bunch of DJs. And we've also been lucky enough to win some national and Woodlands awards for those efforts. So I am a recovering newspaper reporter, and probably one of the biggest things that I carried over from that world into my job as a healthcare marketer is that old journalism axiom of show, don't tell. And Radiothon is perhaps our biggest opportunity to show people why we need to expand rather than telling them, by fiscal year 2015, our projection shows that we're going to outpace our space. So Radiothon gives us the opportunity to show why incredible dads like DJ Nemeth come back year after year to tell the story. DJ is actually a security officer at the hospital. He lost his daughter, Abby, to leukemia. And even though we weren't able to save her, as DJ puts it, you saved my family, you saved my marriage through all of the things that you did for us. And there's 3 things that I bring to the Radiothon every year. My laptop, my notebook, and my waterproof mascara, because I'm starting to cry just talking about it. But anyway, so DJ comes back year after year after year and sits on that couch and tells this heartbreaking story in the hopes that other dads like him don't have to sit there in the future and tell that same story of loss. And so really, our goal is the same goal as DJ's with our Radiothon coverage of, we want to spread the word not only to our supporters, but to our supporters networks so that they can help us, raise additional money to do the things that we do. Yeah. Oh, yeah, anytime. Make me not cry, if you could. That'd be great.
How does your relationship with patients work? They approach UW, they do lack of provide time. How does that work?
Well, actually, Radiothon has been through an interesting evolution over the past few years. It started out with one radio station, then it changed to another one that was in the same radio group. I don't know what market you're in, but what's happening in at least the Madison radio market is there's been a lot of the local shows are going away, and the radio groups are doing more of the national syndicated stuff. So we're kind of jumping around from station to station and radio group to radio group because some of those local shows are going away. But it's again, it's the relationships have stayed pretty constant. If we jumped from one group of DJs to another group of DJs with the same radio group. This year we moved to a different radio group again because of that syndication issue. But
they fight for it. I mean,
yeah.
Everybody wants to do it.
Exactly. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're all, they're all totally engaged, and seeing them behind the scenes too, they're crying just as much as I am, so that's good. Does that answer your question? So we use Facebook Insight stats to sort of analyze how we're doing and if we're meeting those goals to, not only talk about the Radiothon to our own Facebook followers, but to have them, interact with our messages so that it then spreads to their supporters. And you can see that this year our Radiothon posts got about 200,000 views, and our impressions were way up from the previous year. Facebook Insights defines viral reach as the number of people who see your posts in a story from a friend. So, if they interact with your post in some way, then that shows up in their timeline and their friends see it, and that's that whole viral reach that just spreads from network to network. And so our viral reach was at almost 54,000 this year. Engaged users is defined as people who click anywhere on your post. So maybe they liked your photo, maybe they clicked on the photo to see it bigger, maybe they expanded a caption. So that was at about 25,000. And finally, probably the most important stat is the fact that This year there were 865 brand new donors to the Radiothon, so that really does support the fact that we were talking not only to our supporters, but to our supporters' friends, who then also came on board themselves. This stat kind of makes me sad. The average virality for a post by a nonprofit is 1.4%, which is kind of low. But as you can see, just as an example, the virality for our posts during the Radiothon were much higher than that. This photo of cute little Annika who brought her Hello Kitty purse. She's a cancer patient, and she dumped her change from her Hello Kitty purse into our donation push bowl, and that was at almost 4% virality. And I got really hungry, and some really nice people from a hotel down the street were listening to the Radiothon and came and dropped off cookies for the DJs and the Radiothon workers, and I posted that, and even now it was double the average virality. So anyway, and again, back to Jane for her dinner.
So another way that we, in addition to another downstream effect, is that we continue to work on our clinical branding for the Children's Hospital, our market awareness, if you will. That will then create the awareness that we can get the donors in and support our fundraising campaigns. We've recently completed a new series of radio spots focusing on patients. You may have seen these. We did a Kennedy and her polka dot purse for our pediatric heart program. We did Lydia and her favorite doctor, Dr. Osley, one of our general surgeons. And then we have Andrew, our cancer-free hockey player. So we're going to try to play this.
This is Andrew Seelsdorf. He plays hockey. This is leukemia. It's bad business. This is Andrew's oncology team. They love Andrew. They don't like leukemia. And thanks to them, Andrew is now cancer-free. Booyah! They are the world-renowned physicians, scientists, and nurses at the American Family Children's Hospital, pioneers in pediatric cancer care. UW Health, remarkable.
So with that booyah is really, that booyah is really picking up all over the place. So I guess in summary, the campaign we would consider successful. It's been a 4-year campaign. It's raised, okay, we're going back on. It's raised, I don't think so. It's raised 11 million out of the 16 million. This is the expansion campaign. The rest is going to come from private donors. So the public-facing part of the Sick Kids Can't Wait will be done by the end of the year. Good news, we have 3,000 new donors to the thing. Our first stage, the imaging suites and the cath labs, will open in January. The new PICU and NICU will be opening in May. And it's a lot of awareness for our baby brand, as you like to call it. So it's getting close to 5 and cocktail hours. Yeah, more babies. So thank you so much for your attention. Any other questions that we can offer? If not, anybody want to come up and sing a song?
If that works.
If it works, we can make it work. Anybody? Wonderful. Thank you so much.